Welcome, dear friends, to a world where snowflakes fall silently, and the midnight air holds a chill, both familiar and strange. Here, in the glow of winter's long shadows, holiday cheer mingles with whispers from the unknown. This is a place where mysteries lie beneath frosted branches, and old tales come to life in the quiet hush of Christmas night. As you settle in by the warmth of your own hearth, let this tale unfold gently, guiding you into a season of wonder, touched with just a hint of darkness. Tonight we bring you the Frost Wraith.
The snow fell endlessly in Ebon Hollow, a Victorian town trapped beneath a quilt of white and gray. The gas lamps along the cobblestone streets flickered valiantly, their golden light barely holding back the ever-encroaching gloom. The houses, grand but time-worn, were dressed in garlands and wreaths, their windows aglow with warm candlelight. Yet despite the festive decorations, a chill deeper than winter's breath clung to the air. The residents of Ebon Hollow held its secrets close. Every Christmas Eve, when the old church bells chimed midnight, their whispers grew louder. It was on this night, for as long as anyone can remember, children disappeared without a trace, leaving only frosty windows etched with delicate, skeletal handprints. It was a curse no one spoke of aloud, yet it danced behind the eyes of every townsfolk. Clara Winslow, the newest arrival to Ebon Hollow, felt that chill in her very bones. She had come to the town just weeks ago, hired as governess to the orphaned twins, Edmund and Eliza. They were bright-eyed children, with laughter like bells, though a shadow of sadness lingered in their expressions. Clara understood that shadow well. She too carried grief like a stone in her heart. The memory of her younger sister, Alice, who had drowned one cold autumn afternoon, haunted her relentlessly. But tonight, on Christmas Eve, Clara tried to shake off the heaviness of the past. The house was warm, the fire crackling in the hearth, and the scent of pine and cinnamon drifted through the rooms. Edmund and Eliza lay tucked in their beds, the soft rise and fall of their chests a comfort to her. She kissed their foreheads gently. "Merry Christmas, my darlings," she whispered, brushing a stray lock of hair from Eliza's brow. The girl murmured something in her sleep and turned over, her tiny hand clutching her brother's. Clara lingered by the window. Snowflakes tumbled lazily from the sky, landing soundlessly on the glass. Beyond the wrought iron gates of the estate, she could see the twisted silhouette of Wraithmoor Cemetery. The mere sight of it sent an involuntary shiver down her spine. The cemetery was a place of shadow and frost, where headstones leaned like broken teeth and marble angels wept icicles. Pulling the curtains closed, Clara took a deep breath and returned to her room. Sleep did not come easy to Clara, and she awoke with a jolt when the clock struck midnight. As the final chime sounded, a sudden chill swept through the house. The candle on her nightstand sputtered, its flame dancing wildly before dying out. Clara sat up, the darkness pressing in. A strange silence blanketed everything, thick and oppressive. Then, a sound. The faintest echo of laughter, high, childlike but hollow. She sprang to her feet and rushed to the children's room. The door creaked open, revealing a nightmare. The window stood wide open, frost spreading like cracked glass from the panes. The beds were empty, the sheets rumpled and cold. Tiny footprints, encircled by ice crystals, trailed across the wooden floor and vanished out the window. Clara's breath caught. "No! No!" she gasped, her voice trembling. She leaned out the window, the cold biting into her skin. The footprints led toward the cemetery, disappearing into the dark, tangled trees. A thin veil of fog curled around the gravestones like ghostly fingers. The faint laughter came again, drifting on the wind. Clara's heart pounded. Guilt and terror twisted inside her, memories of Alice's pale, lifeless face surfacing like a dreadful tide. She couldn't lose Edmund and Eliza, not like this, not again. Grabbing her heaviest cloak and a lantern, she paused only to snatch up a small music box from Edmund's nightstand. It was a cherished keepsake, one that played a lullaby hauntingly similar to the one she had sung to Alice. Clutching it tightly, she stepped into the night. The gates of Wraithmoor Cemetery yawned open as if inviting her in. The iron bars were covered with frost, cold enough to burn. Clara hesitated, dread pooling in her stomach. The lantern's light trembled in her grasp. The cemetery was a world unto itself. The snow lay undisturbed, a pristine blanket that seemed to muffle sound and steal warmth. Rows of gravestones leaned at odd angles, their inscriptions half erased by time and frost. Marble angels loomed, their faces sorrowful, their wings heavy with ice. The air was filled with the scent of cold stone and decay. As she stepped forward, the fog thickened, swirling around her feet. Shapes loomed in the mist, shadows that might have been trees, or something else. Her breath came in quick, shallow bursts, the cold gnawing at her fingers and toes. The laughter grew louder, echoing among the tombs. She followed the sound, her heart a frantic drumbeat. Then she saw them. In a clearing beneath a twisted ancient oak, Edmund and Eliza stood hand in hand. Their eyes were wide, their faces pale. They stared forward, entranced, as if seeing something wondrous that Clara could not. Before them loomed the Frost Wraith. The figure was carved from winter's coldest breath. Her cloak billowed like a storm cloud, edged with frost and shadow. Her face, though hauntingly beautiful, was a mask of grief, her eyes 2 points of blue flame, cold and unfeeling. Ice crystals shimmered along her outstretched hands, and a crown of icicles encircled her brow like a twisted halo. The Wraith's voice was a whisper of winter winds. "Come, children," she cooed. "Come play where the snow never melts, where laughter never fades." Edmund and Eliza took a step forward, their feet leaving prints of frost on the ground. "No!" Clara cried, running toward them. "Stop!" The Wraith turned her gaze to Clara. Her eyes burned with cold fire. "You cannot stop them," she said. "They belong to me now." Clara's hands shook. "Please let them go. They're just children." The Wraith tilted her head, considering. "So was I," she whispered, "long ago." A wave of grief crashed over Clara, raw and unrelenting. Images filled her mind. Alice's laughter, her tiny hand slipping from Clara's grasp beneath the water, the silence that followed. Guilt, cold and merciless, clutched at her heart. The Wraith smiled, a cruel, knowing smile. "You carry such pain," she said. "I can take it from you. All you need to do is let go. Join me and the children will be free." Clara's knees buckled. The weight of her sorrow was crushing. Could she surrender herself to the cold? Would it be worth it to save Edmund and Eliza? Her fingers brushed the music box in her pocket. A memory surfaced. Sitting by Alice's bed, winding the tiny mechanism, the lullaby's gentle notes filling the room. Alice's eyes closing, her breathing slowing, safe in the warmth of that song. Clara's hand tightened around the music box. She pulled it out and wound the key. The melody began, fragile and pure. It pierced the cold, threading through the air like a silver ribbon. The Wraith flinched, her eyes flickered, the blue flames faltering. "No," she whispered. "Stop." But Clara continued. The music flowed around them, a song of love, loss, and forgiveness. Tears streamed down Clara's face. "I forgive you," she whispered to the Wraith, "and I forgive myself." The Wraith's form wavered, cracks spiderwebbing across her icy exterior. The blue fire in her eyes dimmed, replaced by something softer, something human. A sob escaped the Wraith's lips. "I just wanted to find my child," she whispered. Clara stepped forward, her hand outstretched. "You don't have to be alone anymore." The Wraith let out a shuddering breath. Her form shimmered, then shattered into 1,000 snowflakes, carried away by the wind. The fog lifted. The cold receded. Edmund and Eliza blinked, their eyes clearing. They turned to Clara, confusion and relief on their faces. "Clara?" Edmund whispered. She rushed to them, wrapping them in her arms. "You're safe now," she murmured. "You're safe." The sun rose over Ebon Hollow, painting the snow in hues of gold and rose. The cemetery gates stood closed, frost melting from the iron bars. Every Christmas Eve, Clara and the twins visited Wraithmore Cemetery. They left a small gift by the gates, a music box, a knitted scarf, a carved wooden toy, a token of remembrance, a symbol of peace. And sometimes, when the wind blew just right, they heard the faintest echo of a child's laughter, free at last.
And so, as the final echoes of our tale fade into the winter night, we are reminded that even in the season of joy and light, shadows linger at the edges. The glow of the hearth may keep the darkness at bay, but it is always there, watching and waiting. Until we meet again for another tale of wonder and mystery, I wish you peace, joy, and just enough unease to keep your senses sharp. Thank you, and good night.